Right, yeah, we came through there. No going back through that one. Makes me wonder if any of these people have tried cooking up a Philosopher's Stone. Which, you know, I understand is more about the process than the pursuit of a physical object. But if they're calling themselves alchemists, then it's possible the concept has come up at some point. Anyway, back up we go. Now we can actually solve some puzzles. Fun fact, the Philosopher's Stone, often misspelled as the Philosopher's Singular Stone, is Sennaar. October 3, never forget. Interesting. Alright. Didn't know there was an actual metal, or an actual substance they had, concocted that with. Sorry, just trying to remember where the bloody lab was. Layout here is kind of confusing. Okay, I think down here is the, metal machine here. Alright. Not marked, but I'm going to assume that is the silver we're looking for. Beautiful. Alright. Now let's try cooking us some silver. Alright. Alright, so we've got a list of combinations that did not work. Problem is, there are any number of combinations that do. So let's take a look at the weights we've got here. So we've got two 500, whatever, we'll just say 500 grams. Alright, so I think what we gotta do is find valid combinations. Wait, no. If I know me, I'm overthinking this again, and it's going to be something that's been staring me right in the face. So let's tear down this assumption right fucking now, and go hit the books. So only I'll catch it because Chants of Sennaar is my Hoseki no Kuni waifu, but after some digging around I found confirmation it's a very mythologized process of obtaining a pure red Sennaar crystal, which at the time would be tricky. Oh, okay. So they were actually able to produce this material, and that's kind of where they started, that's kind of how the process itself became kind of mythologized as a pursuit of purity in some sense. Or... yeah, pursuit of a... here we go, okay. So, silver, gold, copper, 2. Okay, no, we got the... this is telling us how the grinding machine works. We got that. Ironically, Sennaar is turbo-toxic. Oh, boy. Suddenly, I'm thinking of that one scene in The Rock where, Nicolas Cage is talking about the toxic substance... the, poison gas in there. And he's trying to liken it to champagne, but where it was sort of discovered on accident. And, you know, he hasn't yet put together that the mission is going to be very serious and possibly life-threatening. And slowly it starts to click with him, and he just summarizes as, it's very, very horrible stuff. It's the kind of thing we could wish we could disinvent. This isn't going to be a training exercise, is it? They're like, no. No, it is not. Alright, let's go back up to the second floor. Hey! Alright, the bards are up in the library. See? They're buddies again. Alright. Oh, brothers once, brothers again. Now, you note that something happened here to split these people off into different groups, and it's gotta be the event that created this weird little fairy gate that they mention. This thing right over here. But again, one must ask if they were being... if we are literally talking about fairies, or is this just their word for what they saw? I mean, presumably they would have some knowledge, but the vibe I'm getting is that these alchemists are descended from the people that made the gate, but not necessarily the ones that did the science. Yeah. Forbidden Greed and Gumball's Alcatraz edition. Probably the denizens of a higher level. Exactly, yeah, they're the benefactors that Dr. Breen talks about. Alright, So this does... Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. We never did figure out what this was for. This right here, 5309. So, what if... See, I don't know if we can make that into a material. If we can find somewhere to put that in, we'll try. Unless... 5309. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Back to the science machine. I have an idea. 8675309. Oh man, if that's a reference to that, that'd be great. But yeah, what I'm thinking is... So... 5 silver, 3 gold, no copper, 9 carbon. So, 5 silver. Alright, I'll see if this works. Is that a yes? No, damn it. Alright, maybe we are going to have to consider this carefully. Go ahead. This one's probably going to stump me for a while. Because I'm thinking, what might have to be done is we consider the various combinations of numbers we can make with these weights. And from that, remove... It's shown explicitly has something to do with the blown-up laboratory. The blown-up laboratory. Blown-up lab is where the other labs are. Alright. Theoretical physics. Yeah, it's where we are needed in the test chamber. Alright, now it is down a level. Right. Here we go. Okay, laboratories. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay, whoa, 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 whoa. I think I didn't actually go into the laboratory that was destroyed because that was over here, because I thought that was the way up because it was dark. A lot of becausing there, but basically, okay, yeah, because it's covered up, but you can kind of see there's the character for the laboratory there, and the hole is dark, and that's where we need the... Okay, yep, that's what I was missing. Yeah, this line of thinking is how you get the demon core. Return to the theoretical part. It's always when some Taffer starts mucking about. Yep. Alright, so. Fire. Make. And help. Yes! Oh yeah! Yes! I am strengthened by the power of words. But, you know, I'm gonna want something a little more practical for when the monsters show up. Laboratory 3. Alright. Well, this is ominous. Oh, I'll bet this is where we use the code. So, yeah. 5309. Maybe, possibly? Is that it? 5, 3... It wasn't 5039, was it? 50... There we go. Become polyglot. All that time grinding Duolingo is finally paying off. Alright. This is the lab that was destroyed, and, you know, I never actually came in here. Here we go. Alright. I found the formula. I found the transformation. Here we go. Alright. So let's clear all this out. Become human air. Wait, no, don't do that. Yeah, we're gonna be a walking Chinese room. Okay, so that is gold. That is 405. And silver 0812, and carbon 0046. At least we're not Detroit. Now, that was... yeah, carbon. Just making sure. 0046. And that was 0812. Beautiful. Alright. Right on. Thanks, Elvis. Oh! Oh! This is unsettling. Oh yeah, sure. Let's go look at the hole with the bloody handprints on it. Ah, Elvis, my dude. You know, it's a miracle you're still alive. I mean, don't get me wrong. Who or whatever we are is obviously courageous to do this. But at some point, the fact that we have no means to defend ourselves is a bit of an issue. And I feel like we're going to need something a little more practical than harsh language when, a literal goddamn monster starts showing up. Anyway, with that done, it's our technically speaking renewable source of carbon. There are plenty of us, it's true. I'll find the fast travel points. We will stop there for a break, and I'll use that to revisit the parts of the tower and see what other people have gotten up to. We already know that there's the gondola down to the bards. And I think there was actually one more language in the devotees camp that we, or one more language puzzle in the devotees camp that we did not, sort out. That's it. Alright. Yeah, we will take a quick break here. Thanks, by the way, Ivory, for the hint there. I completely misread what that darkened area was, and I figured that would be where we go up the tower. But in all likelihood, the gate we're about to enter is going to lead us to the next section. Let's see. Babies are a renewable resource. Become my favorite response for when cannibalism comes up, as it does. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, it's reminding me of that line about how... like, this is a bit of a tangent, but... it's reminding me of that line about how, in a pinch, any cursed object can be handed off to an infant. It's not very ethical, but it will solve the problem in a practical sense. Anyway, let's get some exercise in. And we are back. Now then. So yeah, let's hop around the tower real quick and see what's been changing. So yeah, actually it looks like we've got what appears to be all the shortcut doors open on the tower. So let's see what language gaps we can plug in. Here we go. Alright. So yeah, you help me, plants are dying, I don't want plants to die. Right, the devotees were sort of the gardeners and caretakers of the place. So... here we go. You help me. Now, fortunately, the language structure between these guys and the alchemists is relatively similar. Plants are dying. So, plants plural. What is... do we have dying? Thank you, sir. Formula, help, warrior, not. That's an interesting question. Do they have... because I know the character for transform included the life cycle, so maybe that covers the concept of death? No. Plants... Fairy, door, find, seek, gold, silver, clothes, copper, refectory, laboratory, book, open. Maybe... not? No. Plants, plural, clothes. I hesitate to consult a walkthrough on this, but I feel like I'm going to need someone to explain it to me slowly what the logic here is. Plants, plural, are dying. So, if there's anything that can roughly translate to the concept of dying. Transform. The closest one I can think of is transform. But again, that doesn't really capture the meaning. Okay, so it is plants plural. And the answer for that is... which one? The heck symbol is that? The heck? Is that even in my list? Yeah, it's like a straight line, and then there's like a squiggly line crossing through it from top right to bottom left. Oh, motherfucker, it was right over here. Oh. Perception one moment. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna be real, if it wasn't for phone apps, I'd still be lost in Kyoto right about now. Anyway, I don't want plants to die. Oh, man. That's pretty rough, ladies and gentlemen. That's going in the low light reel. Okay, so I don't want plants to die. Me, not, want, plants, die. There we go. Alright, I will help you. I will create a formula. Hey, science man to the rescue. Alright. Thanks, sir. I need that. Okay. Help. More often than not, I tend to be screaming at myself when I go through these for editing purposes. Oh wait, hang on a second. It was... yeah, me. Because, of course, when I'm looking at the video and not watching what I'm doing, my attention is usually focused on kind of the center of play here. And I kind of tunnel vision around that. And that usually tends to miss stuff at the periphery. But yeah, of course, when I'm watching the whole screen while I'm editing and not worried about playing, then suddenly my brain works properly. Alright, so me... instrument, preacher, potion, music, love, like, make, create. Yeah, such as the streamer curse, yeah. I guess potion would be close. Yeah, there we go. I've done that too. Alright. So devotees and the science people are getting along. Excellent, excellent. Let's get connected. Aw. Homeboy here is not able to find anybody to chat with. Lonely Saturday night. I feel you, my man. Fear not. At the rate we're connecting people, you're gonna have a whole lot more people to talk to. Alright. The impure ones do not pass. The impure ones do not create music. You can see which ones have a conversation puzzle by the O above the gate. Oh, okay, good catch. That helps, thanks. Alright, the impure ones do not pass. The impure ones do not create music. Alright, so... guessing that is... actually, wait. Did they have a word for themselves? Abbey... because obviously they wouldn't call themselves. It's either you or it's going to be Men of the Abbey. I'm going to try... Men of the Abbey... not pass. There's go pass. Not. Maybe not. Here we go, devotees. Right at the top looks like an upside down tear from Eternal Darkness. Been a long time since I played that game. I'll have to look at it. I'll have to refresh my memory. That was a fascinating game, though. The sanity effects still kind of stand out. I think everybody remembers the one where it acts like it's deleting your save data. Hitting on a meta level is a sure way to get under one's skin. Alright, so the Emperor ones do not create music. So that is... here we go. Not... make create... over here somewhere. Not... make create... It is a classic. Hold on, I'm gonna take a look at this. Oh yeah, I can kind of see what you mean. Oh god, right, yeah, the spiritual follow-up. I mean, usually it's kind of hard to devotees create music, so impure ones, they can so make music. So that was... let's create music. Here we go. Warriors love music. That's right, they did have people playing. So that is these guys. Warriors... Aw, there we go. Oh, wow, okay. There's a lot more to this. So, the achievement that popped up was halfway. Repair half of the links. So... there's gonna be way more to this than I thought, because there's only one left on this side, I guess, they haven't filled out. So we have quite a bit more. Hey! We get our hat back when we go to the Warriors camp. Sweet. Alright. The alchemists want to help the monster. The alchemists are afraid. The alchemists don't want to die. Okay. This feels like the science fiction scenario where there's a bunch of, like, army guys trying to kill a monster, and the scientist is like, no, wait, we can do something with it. We can help it, or we can, like, weaponize it or something. And then at some point, the scientist tries to communicate with the monster and then gets eaten. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. As TF2 has shown us, hats are important. Yeah. I think that literally powered the Valve economy for a while. Okay, so... Vessel, scientists. Here we go. So, plural, scientists. Make, create, fear, moon, seek, want. Now this is interesting. Did they have one for monster? Music, balance, vessel, key, help? Or would that just be impure ones? I keep thinking these languages are missing words that they obviously have, but I feel like the warriors are conflating impure ones that are human and actual literal monsters. Ones wants to help. The monster. There we go. Yeah, because that's the same character for impure, which they use to describe the devotees, but in this case they're using it to refer to monster. So there is kind of some wiggle room in the in concepts that are slightly different from language to language, which again is true to life with working from one language to another. It's not often going to be a clean translation, even when the languages have a common origin. Anyway, the alchemists are afraid. So, plural, scientists, fear. The alchemists don't want to die. Let's see, that was... not... Here we go. Not... seek, want... death. There we go. Warriors are not afraid of the impure. Warriors will help the scientist. Awesome. See, I feel like this is going to be a misunderstanding here, because the warriors all amped up like, yeah, we're going to take it to them unbelievers. And the scientists are like, no, man, we need help holding back the monsters. And this is going to lead to some kind of serious issue where, like, a bunch of monsters break containment or something because these guys just aren't ready for that. I don't know. Just saying, there are further barriers to understanding than simple translation. So anyway, warriors. Royal, not... right, not... afraid, fear... Warriors will help scientists. At least they're nice about it. Warriors will help Bard Alchemist. Here we go. Miscommunication in my Babel game? I know, right? What could possibly give us that idea? Alright, yeah, there's definitely going to be more points showing up that help connect the rest of these. And I'm guessing these other doors are going to light up with communication nodes as well. Anyway, let's head back down. I'm going to run through the camps real quick and kind of take the nickel tour and see what has been changing. It'd be kind of nice to go back and see how everybody's doing. Yeah, connected every point except one. There's nothing with that fifth one. Yeah. It's reminded me a little bit of the Stargate map as was described in the... as was described in the movie, where, like, you've got the 6 points and then a 7th as a point of reference, and then a 7th as a point of origin. Which, you know, I feel like navigating would be a bit more complicated than that, but that's how the bloody thing worked. What great irony it would be if this is how you actually open the ferry gate, And this is what causes the fairies to, like, come down and destroy the works of man or whatever. Hey! Our beggar friend from before found a friend.
Hey, you.
Hey! You're seeking the preacher. Okay, yeah, we already talked. So one of the serfs made it down here. Nice. Honestly, it is kind of nice to go back through these areas and revisit them now that we do have a proper understanding of the language. Enough to actually... Hey! The garden's back. Nice! Science man's already working his magic. Hell yeah! Keep on keeping on, Conehead, brother. 7 symbols are distilled mathematical equation to facilitate ease of use for travelers. Oh, right. Yeah, that was the explanation of it. Yeah, I imagine that was the simplified version they set up to make the thing possible to use for people on other planets and destinations. And honestly, it was a fun concept. It was a good basis for a show. And for a while, the show kind of filled the void that, oh, hey. Alright, so the serf's kind of helping to build boats here. Nice. It filled a very similar niche that old Trek did. And, you know, I'm using old here to cover Trek up through at least Deep Space Nine. As something you can just kind of sit down and watch and enjoy without having to worry too much about the interconnected story or a long story arc. You can just watch for half an hour and be entertained by, like, light science fiction with the occasional bits of action and ethical drama, or ethical dilemma. Actually, was there any thing in the... No, right, we checked the graveyard. Yeah, those were fun. What always stands out to me is there was that one Futurama episode where they did the body swapping thing, and they figured out the mathematical formula you would need if you cannot simply swap people back to allow the people to get back into their original bodies, and you would always need at least 2 participants to do so, and come up with this daisy chain of partners. And I remember that sticks out because SG-1 did that exact concept at some point, and they had to get a few volunteers to touch the body-swapping artifact doohickey. I just always found that was kind of... Yeah, it was an SG-1 episode. It was great. Yeah, I think it was O'Neill that got swapped into Teal'c's body. He's like, how do you think I feel? I got a worm in my gut now. That was a fun show. There's a certain... I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do science fiction in an episodic format, but I think there needs to be a certain looseness with it in terms of sticking to hard science that allows you to have breezy and fun episodes in between these serious drama bits. I don't think it's a strict requirement, but I think it goes a long way into making something digestible in small doses. First Machello episode, you might be right, yeah. I'm just trying to see if there are any of the bards running around here. Yeah, SG-1 was fun. Alright. Hey, look at this! Aw, they're putting on a concert! Attend the Bard's show at the fortress. Hell yeah! Doing a nice jaunty little tune here. Aww. Although I do like... I'm gonna take another look at that. You can kind of tell some of these guys are just kind of standing around facing wrong directions. Like, these two are just over here kind of looking at each other. These guys are facing off to the side. I think they don't really know what to do at a concert. And so they're just kind of looking around for other people for guidance. Uh-oh. I see the stream had a network error. Hang on a second. Okay, player shows it's still going. Looks like we're still up. Yeah. Well, looks like it was one of those crashes where it reset itself, thank Christ. Huzzah! Let's see, anybody over here at the bell tower? No, that was the drunk fella. Wonder if there's any scientists at the observatory. I'll run back and check real quick. Actually, that'd probably be a faster way to get to... That'd probably be a better way to get to the fast travel point. Alright. Look upon your work, Elvis. You made this happen. And that, friend, is why you are the king. Now, where else are we going? That, I think, goes down into the treasure room. Or maybe that was this way. Yeah, I think this was it. That's it. Hey, nice. Little by little, we are fostering understanding again. Honestly, there is something kind of touching about this. Just building these tenuous connections by helping people understand and getting them to open lines of communication that they did not have before. And you know, we're still kind of in the dark about what caused this in the first place, aside from the fact that it's probably connected to this fairy gate the alchemists were talking about. But I think the game is executing nicely on the theme of language being something that superficially divides us, but can be used as a way to bridge gaps between people. There is ground for common understanding across that linguistic and cultural barrier. And having the culmination of that being translation puzzles between the camps, I think is actually really clever. I can see why this game is well regarded. It's still functionally a point-and-click adventure game in a lot of ways, but it's doing something fascinating with the way it constructs its language and integrates that to the puzzles that I don't think I've ever seen before. And usually with a puzzle game, the ones that stand out are doing something genuinely clever that either is not done all that often, and it's just a particularly skillful execution of it, or it genuinely has never been done. Is this where I want to be? No, this is the treasure room. Like, Portal is the obvious go-to example, even though, of course, you know, there was Darbacular Drop before that, I believe it was called. But smart execution of the concept... Oh, wait a minute. Because I came up through here, didn't I? Yeah, no, I had to. Yeah, because I crossed the mural. Damn. Sorry, Elvis, back down. Doing too much talking, not thinking.